Welcome back, adventurer. Today's creature has been described as the laundry lady with supernatural suds. So come, pull up a stool at Creature Tavern. Hey, look who's come for open. Eager today, are we? Well, I won't keep you. Let's get you sat and crack on with the creature for today. The Bean Nighe, from Scottish folklore. In Scottish Gaelic, Bean Nighe translates to washerwoman or laundress. But she's also known to go by the night washerwoman, washer at the ford, and the h-ath. That means little washer. And with that last name, there are a couple of variants. You've got the h-ath, little washer of the ford, or h-ath a bron, which means little washer of the sorrow. She's a mighty grim figure, widely feared as a harbinger of death and a messenger from the other world. She belongs to a family of spirits known as h-ath, a star-studded group of cryptids, which include the Gorgon Witch and the more famous Banshee. Seems this is one gang of ghouls with connections. Tradition spins tales that the Bean Nighe is the restless spirit of a woman who died during childbirth, now caught between the lands of the living and the dead, unable to cross over, forever to remain bound to her labours. Washing clothes, until the day her life would naturally have ended, had death not intervened. Now the suspected oldest record of a Bean Nighe comes from the Mermaid of Loch Slin stories, from 1742. Back then, women would give birth roughly around the age of 20, with a life expectancy of around 60. Do take that with a pinch of salt, mind. But if we go off this rough tavern math, that's 40 years of laundry duty. It doesn't sound the worst, but back then those would have been the prime years of life. To help, let's do a little more tavern math and look at this through a modern lens. Today, childbirth tends to occur at the age of 30, with folks living far, far longer, up to the ripe old age of 90. Now how does 60 years of laundry sound? In my opinion, this is a fate worse than death. Her appearance varies according to who you chat with, but nearly every account marks her as unsettling or deformed in some way. On the Isles of Mull and Tiree, she's said to have unusually long breasts that keep getting in the way when she performs her eternal labour. Folks say she simply throws them over her shoulders, letting them hang down her back while she washes. On the Isle of Skye, the Bean Nighe is depicted as a squat, pitiful figure resembling a small child. While in Perthshire, she's described as small, rotund, and dressed in green. In all versions, she bears physical abnormalities that set her apart from the living washerwomen. Sometimes it's protruding front teeth or red webbed feet. But the most widely reported description is that of a tall, malnourished woman with thin patchy hair, a shriveled posture, and a face dominated by a hooked nose with just the one large nostril. If you track your eyes down her malnourished looking form, you'll notice thin, wiry arms that end in rough, calloused hands, telling the story of her countless years spent washing the endless pile of garments. Sightings have come from all over Scotland. We just mentioned Perthshire. That's quite a beautiful patch of central Scotland, littered with mountains and lochs. And we also mentioned the Isle of Mull, Skye, and Tiree. These are all parts of the Inner Hebrides, with the Isle of Mull sitting just off the west coast, near Auburn, the Isle of Skye being more northwestern, and the Isle of Tiree is southwest of the Isle of Mull. Good luck keeping track of all that. Within these lands, Bean Nighe are said to haunt lonely places beside desolate streams, ponds, fords or lochs, most commonly during dusk or nightfall, so make sure you've got a lantern handy if you're looking for the washerwoman. As we briefly mentioned earlier, the key feature of a Bean Nighe is her unending laundry. But it's not just any old laundry. Folks say she specifically washes blood from the garments of those fated to die. That's right. She's able to see the future in her suds. And those whose clothing she washes are destined for sudden, and more often than not, violent death. She's also rumoured to sing a low, mournful dirge while she carries out her duties. This soapy superpower has been witnessed on full display in one of the most noteworthy encounters from the Highlands, tied to the collapse of Fern Abbey's roof in 1742. In this story, sometimes referred to as the Mermaid of Loch Slin, a maiden from Cromarty was walking along the loch one Sabbath morning, when she turned a corner and saw a tall woman standing knee-deep in the water. The woman was knocking clothes against a stone with a bludgeon, and nearby, more than 30 smocks and shirts lay on a bleaching green. If you're unfamiliar with a bleaching green, that's a grassy area, usually beside a river, used to bleach washed clothes in the sun. Each article of clothing was smeared with blood, and shortly afterward, the roof of Fern Abbey fell during a service, burying the congregation. 36 souls were lost according to the legend, though some records put that number closer to 50. It's also said she possesses a vast, possibly infinite knowledge, and if you manage to speak with her, she'll happily reveal not only the identity of the doomed individual whose clothes she's washing, but also answer any question put to her. In some cases, she's rumoured to grant wishes too. But you only get the 3, so use them wisely. And before you go off skipping by a loch in hope of these 3 wishes, just know it ain't as easy as walking up and tapping her on the shoulder. Gaining these favours demands cunning, courage, and adherence to an ancient and very specific ritual. If you lay eyes on her, you mustn't turn away. Instead, approach silently from behind, so she's not alerted to your presence. Then, and here's where things get a little weird, legends say you should seize one of her long breasts, pop it in your mouth, and claim to be her foster child. She'll then be bound to impart whatever knowledge you seek. If the garments in her hands belong to an enemy, you can let her carry on, sealing your foe's fate. On the other hand, if they belong to yourself or a loved one, you can stop her from completing her task and avert death entirely. You'll have the power of life and death in the palm of your hand, and a long, cold breast resting in your mouth. Different regions preserve variations on this dangerous encounter. On the Isle of Skye, capturing her ensures she'll answer all your questions, but you must truthfully respond to hers in return. And if the Bean Nighe sees you first, well, she will rob you of the use of your limbs. Some say this happens instantly, as though afflicted by some invisible curse, while others swear blind she'll approach you and whip your arms and legs with her wet linens. And in the Perthshire tradition, the tactics are a lot simpler. All you got to do is position yourself between her and the stream, and you'll secure her capture. It's definitely easier, but in my humble tavern opinion, a hell of a lot more boring too. Regardless of the locale, the Bean Nighe's intense focus on her work can sometimes be her weakness. So absorbed is she in the washing and the rhythm of her song that a careful, stealthy hunter may seize her before she reacts. Should they succeed, she'll reveal the name of the one soon to die, and if the tales are to be believed, bestow up to 3 wishes. On these isles, such fortune was rare and extraordinary, that a person who enjoyed unusual success was often said to have got the better of the Bean Nighe. Honestly, I'm not sure why I'd need any wards to protect against this haunted washer, but alas, I've done my research and got a good few tips for you. If a Bean Nighe's causing you grief, maybe everyone except yourself's getting a wish, and you've just had enough. The legend states you can send her to her final rest by cleaning all the clothes she left behind in life. But if you don't mind the washer, you've just buggered up the approach, and now you've got one advancing with her linens in hand. Then I suggest you run. But since no one ever does, there might be another power at play here. Maybe paralysis through her stare. Maybe there's an intense fear, or maybe everyone's just confused by this approaching figure. If you find yourself frozen, then you're screwed. Unless you've got a party member handy to drag you back. And with that, we're finished with our creature for the day. We've learned that you can get up to 3 wishes for the low cost of 1 nibble. Now that bell means it's last call here at Creature Tavern. So grab yourself one more drink for the road. And until next time, tread carefully, adventurer. You never know when you might wander into the weird